Today I'm going to explain an American science fiction thriller film called The Island. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. At the beginning of the movie, two people are in the middle of the boat on the ocean. As the male protagonist clasps his hand with the female, he is drowned by three other creepy-looking persons into the ocean. Suddenly, Lincoln 6 Echo snaps awake and realizes that it was just a dream. A slick LED display above the bed greets Lincoln with a good morning message. Subsequently, another display on his wall requests his presence at the Tranquility Center for a wellness evaluation. As Lincoln pees, the toilet recognizes that his urine has excessive sodium and recommends nutrition control. He has a bracelet wrapped in his wrist, which automatically opens a drawer filled with his clothes. When Lincoln steps out of his room, we see plenty of others in there who wear the same clothes as him. Lincoln and others wearing white stroll together and enter the lift. As the lift continues down, holograms play along the wall showing snapshots of a beautiful tranquil island among sparkling blue ocean. The residents are told that the outside world has become too contaminated to support life, with the exception of a pathogen-free island. Each week, one resident gets to leave the compound and live on the island by way of a lottery. Just then, this week's lottery winner is announced. The winner is Starkweather 2 Delta. An image of Starkweather 2 Delta appears, speaking joyfully about how it was always his dream to go to the island. As the lift reaches its destination, Lincoln continues to walk along the compounds. In the background, various people engage in various chores like yoga activities, fitness exercise, and swimming. All seem content, but black tracksuited supervisors are shown keeping close watch all throughout. The citizens of the compound, all of whom wear white tracksuits, are treated well, but their lives are strictly regimented and regulated. At the cafeteria, Lincoln swipes his bracelet and asks for bacon. However, the nutritionist advises him against it, for health purposes. Seeing this, Lincoln's best friend, Jordan 2 Delta, tells him to watch and learn. She pleases the nutritionist and cheats her way with bacon. They talk for a while, but the guards alert them of engaging in far too much proximity. She slides the bacon into Lincoln's plate as they separate. Lincoln arrives at the office of Dr. Merrick, the presiding doctor for the compound. He inquires him about his friendship with Jordan, and explains that there are proximity rules against regular close-up contact. He is further questioned about the nightmare. He explains to the doctor his nightmare. When he is probed, he confesses that he has begun to question the regimentation of life at the compound. Why is Tuesday night tofu night? He wants some bacon for his breakfast, and he wants to wear different colors other than white for his clothes, and there should be more to life at the compound than just waiting to go the island. Dr. Merrick calmly tries to explain that he is lucky to have survived the contaminated Earth, and how the island is the only clean place left. He further explains that he himself, and all other staff and supervisors at the compound, are ineligible to win the lottery, and cannot ever go to the island, as they are needed to keep the compound facility operating smoothly. Then, Dr. Merrick wants to run some tests on Lincoln and has him tied on a reclining seat. He places some devices on Lincoln's cheek that crawl into his eye. He assures Lincoln that these microsensors will upload data for 24 hours, and then pass out through his urine. Lincoln then arrives at the work center for work. He and a citizen named Jones 3 Echo are using infuser tools to feed nutrients into tubes that lead to where the citizens' meals are prepared. Lincoln is bored with the job, although Jones finds it satisfying. The calm of the work center is suddenly broken as a female citizen, Lima 1 Alpha, collapses. Lima 1 Alpha is heavily pregnant, and it appears she's gone into labor. The other women near her are ecstatic for her, as she is now destined to go to the island with her baby. Lincoln then illicitly visits a power plant basement where his friend, technician James McCord, works. There, he discovers a live moth in the ventilation shaft. He captures the bug and hides it inside a matchbox. In the evening, Lincoln tells Jordan about the flying bug he found, leading him to realize that the outside world might not be contaminated. He has a feeling that something is wrong. Jordan, however, is baffled at how Lincoln 6 Echo is convinced of bad things being hidden behind the seemingly good life at the compound. Soon after, the walls in the social center light up with holographic displays as the lottery begins. Citizens all around the compound stop and begin watching nearby monitors and screens. The community announcer begins the usual speech about the lottery and a lucky winner heading to the island. The spin soon begins. As it stops, Jordan's name is shown in the hologram. Cheer and applause erupt. She is frozen. Lincoln seems unhappy at the thought of losing his best friend, and at the chance of going to the island slipping away one more time. To congratulate her, he touches her arm and says goodbye. The supervisor halts their brief union as it breached the proximity rule. That night, Lincoln sees the same nightmare again. He awakes suddenly, leaning up to look at the flying insect, and his face lights up with an idea. He sneaks along the compound into Sector 6 and releases the insect. It flies, and he follows. He ends up in a hallway in a medical sector. He ducks through a door, finding a utility closet with a number of blue medical lab coats, one of which he puts on. As he navigates his way through the medical center, he looks through the window of a medical room, and sees Lima 1 Alpha delivering the baby. Suddenly, the doctor injects something into her body, and she starts trembling and then dies. Meanwhile, the nurse carries the baby into another room and presents the newly born girl to a couple. The woman looks exactly like Lima 1 Alpha. Lincoln is shocked and goes into the nurse station. He finds Starkweather 2 Delta lying on an operating table in the surgery room. As they are about to make an incision through his chest, Starkweather 2 Delta wakes up and starts to run. He is chased by several guards and is finally hounded by a gun. Lincoln hides in a corner watching this. Dr. Merrick comes into the security room to ask about the incident. Upon close surveillance, the doctor realizes that the disguised Lincoln had seen everything. He rings the alarm bells and wants Lincoln captured. Meanwhile, Lincoln heads towards the compound where girls reside to try and rescue Jordan. Lincoln finds Jordan and tries to make her understand that there is no island and that she will soon be killed for organs. She is beyond surprised. He convinces her, and they both run to escape from the establishment. Several guards chase them, but they escape through a series of underground corridors, and finally emerge into the outside world. Outside, they continue to run while staring in wonder at the world around them. Although the terrain is rocky, and looks barren, they are very able to breathe the air. There's no trace of any contamination. As they see a living snake, they now believe that the earth is not contaminated and the island is just a lie. Back in the compound, the community announcer delivers fabricated news that Lincoln has been quarantined due to the exposure to the contamination, while Jordan has been safely transported to the island. Elsewhere, the truth about this compound is revealed as Dr. Merrick makes a sales presentation to potential clients. It is revealed that this facility is in fact a bioengineering facility where agnates are grown. An agnate is a clone of a regular person, grown directly into adulthood, matching the biological age of the client, its DNA completely identical to the client's. An agnate is meant as a source of replacement body parts for an ailing client. Female agnates can also serve as surrogate wombs for a female client who cannot carry a baby herself. However, Dr. Merrick falsely claims that the agnates are kept in a vegetative state, never achieving consciousness, never think or feel anything. They are products, and not humans. After the presentation, Dr. Merrick hires Burkina mercenary, Albert Laron, to find and return Lincoln and Jordan to the compound. Dr. Merrick explains that the world doesn't know that the agnate products are alive. If knowledge of this becomes public, the institute will be shut down for ethical violations. Dr. Merrick explains that locating Jordan 2 Delta is particularly paramount. Her sponsor, the person she's cloned from, is Sarah Jordan. She is comatose following a car accident. Without multiple organ transplants, she'll die within 3 days. This explains the lottery. An agnate wins when their sponsor requires body part harvest. Elsewhere, Lincoln and Jordan reach a bar where they manage to find McCord. And he takes the two of them to his home. There, he explains to them about their existence, how they are human clones meant to serve as sources of body parts for the people they're cloned from. The memories they have of their respective childhoods, families, and lives before the contamination are basic memory imprints. McCord also explains their names. Lincoln and Jordan are the surnames of their sponsors. Echo means that Lincoln has been alive for 3 years, while Delta means Jordan is 4. The 2 in Jordan's name is a regional code for New York, where Sarah Jordan lives. 6 is a regional code for Los Angeles, where Lincoln's sponsor, Tom Lincoln, lives. Lincoln and Jordan decide that they must locate their sponsors and spread the truth of their existence and the institute. McCord assists them with maps, credit cards, cash, and one crucial piece of advice: to not trust any human. Meanwhile, Varon and his team locate Lincoln and Jordan through the microsensors inside Lincoln's body. The men arrive there and kill McCord. But the other 2 somehow manage to board the train to Los Angeles. They expect to meet Lincoln's sponsor there. After a lot of struggles, they finally arrives at Tom Lincoln's estate. Lincoln peeks into a security camera near the door. It reads his retinal prints, which are a match for his sponsors. The door unlocks and opens for them. The 2 of them go inside and find photos of Tom Lincoln. At that moment, Tom Lincoln comes up from behind, mistaking them for intruders, and swings a golf club. Soon, he freezes in shock and amazement when he sees Lincoln's face. They converse for some time, and Tom reveals that he is suffering from liver damage and that Lincoln is his insurance policy. The two agnates reveal to him the reality of the Institute and beg for his help. Tom assures them to take them to a television news channel to flash the truth. Tom asks the two of them to stay there while he goes up to get a pair of shoes. In his room, Tom Lincoln secretly calls the Merrick Institute and asks them what his insurance policy is doing at his home. He comes downstairs, and as they are about to move, Jordan sees Tom's eyes and alerts Lincoln that he is lying. Tom plans to trick Lincoln to go with him to bring him to an ambush. They travel in Tom's car when suddenly, Laurent and his team approach them and start shooting at the vehicle. Lincoln drives as fast as he can, while engaging in a fight with Tom. As the both of them flung out of the vehicle, Laurent is holding his gun, aiming to shoot the clone. Lincoln copies Tom's Scottish accent, making the two indistinguishable. Laurent is baffled. He doesn't know who the real Lincoln is. Lincoln performs a sleight of hand and adjusts his bracelet in Tom's wrist. Laurent then realizes that the clone would be wearing a bracelet, and upon seeing one, he shoots at Tom. Tom is dead, and his body is sent to the Institute. Lincoln returns to Tom's estate, and Jordan and he make love to each other. Back at the Institute, Dr. Merrick and the incubation chief find out that the 4 newest generations of agnates have shown interesting neural patterns. They inherit memory imprints from their sponsors. Because of this, many agnates have shown the ability to question, which can be harmful to the establishment. Dr. Merrick believes the only solution is a recall, the termination of half the agnates, and the disposal of almost $200 million worth of products. The mechanism for the recall is already in place. A large numbers of agnates will all be chosen simultaneously as lottery winners to go to the island for termination. One such lottery is shown, and Jones 3 Echo is one of the ones chosen. Technicians and medical personnel are seen going to the incubation room, and prematurely extracting incubating agnates from the incubation pods. Meanwhile, Lincoln and Jordan plan to save the living agnates. Lincoln believes that the holographic control room is the main base of the establishment. If he destroys it, all the agnates can see the reality that the holograms have been hiding from them. He dresses like Tom Lincoln, and heads towards Merrick Institute in a chopper. On the other hand, Jordan allows herself to be caught by Laurent and taken to the Institute as well. In the car, Laurent looks thoughtfully at the thermal implant under the skin of Jordan's wrist, as she anxiously runs her fingers across it. As they arrive, Laurent meets Dr. Merrick in his office, who expresses his gratitude for Laurent's services. However, he learns that Sarah Jordan may not survive even with the organ transplants. He now has moral qualms about the clones' treatment after witnessing their fight for survival. Elsewhere, Lincoln injures the Institute rep and heads towards the holographic room, while Jordan is in bed waiting for her organs to be taken out for her sponsor, and suddenly, she opens fire at one of the guards. She goes out and meets Lincoln and gives him a key she has stolen. Meanwhile, the doctors investigate Tom's dead body, and realize that it is the client's dead body. They inform Dr. Merrick, who hurriedly issues a warning to find Lincoln. Some agnates are guaranteed a trip to the island but in reality are being taken to be terminated. Jordan sees that the agnates are being escorted to a section of the building, and follows them. Lincoln finds the reactor and tries to shut down the hologram power grid, but is shot by Dr. Merrick. The two fight. Meanwhile, as the agnates are being loaded into a lift, Jones is suspicious and tries to resist. But they are locked in what turns out to be an incineration chamber. The security activates it, and just then Jordan arrives. Laurent soon follows and threatens the security to deactivate it. The guard has no choice but to comply. The agnates gasp for breath, while the reactor fan overloads and is surging out of control. Lincoln is being strangled to death by Dr. Merrick, but he manages to get hold of the gun and shoots at the doctor's neck. The reactor fan spirals out of control and destroys everything it meets. Dr. Merrick is dead. The holographic illusion is now shattered. All the agnates can see that there is no contamination in the outside world. In surprise, all the agnates walk out of the establishment and wander through the world they had never seen. Lincoln and Jordan kiss each other as Laurent smiles at them. The movie ends with Lincoln and Jordan sailing away in a boat together toward an island, fulfilling their dream of one day going to such a place.